Hey everyone, it's Jared, aka Bats. So, I said in a previous video that I'm really liking the Chip Zdarsky run. And this is everything that's come out so far in Collected Edition. And I have a question as to why every time I bring up the Zdarsky run, everyone hates it. I'm not entirely sure why they hate it. And they give me an answer, but the answers for me don't make too much sense. Maybe I'm just choosing to not listen to their answer, or just not fully getting it. Because what I've noticed in the Chip Zdarsky run is that it's very similar in the same vein as his Marvel 2-in-1. It's very similar to his Daredevil run, and it's very similar to his Spider-Man run. And what I mean by that is, in each of those previous comic book runs, he really relied on the continuity that came before it for him to bounce off and do his own story with with the previous continuity stories. And so, like in Failsafe here, it picks up from right after Tower of Babel and Justice League, and it does this flashback of where Batman has got kicked out of the Justice League for having issues with, for having ways to take down every member of the Justice League. So Batman gets kicked out, and Superman asks, well, what if you need to be taken down? So Bruce comes up with the idea that if he crosses the line, a robot that he designed and built would know all his contingencies and take him down. Tight. And that's what Failsafe is. It's like, and Alfred would be the one who would turn it off or on. And Alfred's now dead. So relying on the comics that came before this with the Tom King run, Alfred's dead. Mark Waid had wrote Tower of Babel. And then you have the Zur-En-Arrh stuff from Grant Morrison. And then the same thing happens again. Or not the same thing, but, the Knight, which introduced Ghostmaker in the Tinian run, which the Ghostmaker is very involved in the Tinian run and very involved in this story about Bruce's rival. And you see Bruce leading up to Zero Year from the Scott Snyder run. And then he does the same thing here, where is very influenced by Grant Morrison, where basically the ending of Failsafe, he gets zapped to a different timeline, just like in Grant Morrison's run. And then this one, I can understand why people didn't like it. Fair. And then this one, also relying on the Zur-En-Arrh. There's lots of Zur-En-Arrh stuff in this run, so I don't know if that's why people don't like it, but that's one of the reasons I really do like it. And I'm a big fan of Jorge Jimenez, and so when I get Jorge Jimenez, he's in this book too somewhere, and he's in this. So I get a lot of Jorge Jimenez, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this run. This Catwoman part, I get it, I get it. But there's all these things that I really care about, in the sense that I really like that, and people say, oh, I didn't like in Failsafe, Batman comes back from outer space. He grapples his way back from outer space. And I know it's a crazy concept, but Batman's done crazier things prior to this. Like, I'm not asking you to be like, hey, accept the Silver Age. I'm asking you to be like, hey, remember that time that Batman traveled through time, through bodies to come back to the living? Well, it's mentioned in this, and then, he does do that thing where he's in a different timeline here, and he travels back through dimensions to get back home. And what I did like about this Catwoman arc was that it brought back things that we kind of forgot about Bruce's character, is that when it comes to Bruce's family, even though he cares about them very deeply, he doesn't tolerate any BS from them. And, since basically, like, after Greg Rucka was like, he wrote the most a-hole Batman. And Batman kind of becomes a-hole again, like he did in Greg Rucka's stuff. But since Greg Rucka, we had Judd Winnick, who then passed the torch to Grant Morrison, who then passed the torch to Scott Snyder, to pass the torch to Tom King, to pass it to Tinian, to then pass it to Chip Zdarsky. But between Chip and Judd Winnick, or excuse me, before I can't speak now. Before Chip Zdarsky came on, we forgot that Bruce is a real a-hole sometimes, especially with his family members. And that comes back, and that hasn't been around since Greg Rucka. And so it's kind of nice to be like, I remember Bruce is like this sometimes, especially with his kids. And so I enjoyed that. I get why people don't like this story, and that's fine. But I don't get why everyone's mad about this one. They don't talk about this one. This is fantastic. This one is awesome. This one is super trippy. And this one ties back into Jeff Johns' stuff. So it's like Zdarsky came on and was like, I'm going to reference all of the good Batman stories in the last 20 years. And I'm going to use those Batman stories in the last 20 years to build my story. And for some reason, people just hate on it. And I don't get it. So if you are reading it and you don't like it, tell me in the comments. I want to know. I'm trying to understand why people don't like it. But also know, I love it. And that's okay too, because I've seen people in different Facebook groups when I'm like, oh, Chip Zdarsky's a great Batman writer. And they're like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. I enjoy comics. And I don't get why people get so upset for liking something that they don't like. I mean, anytime I tell them that I think Batman Forever is the best Batman movie, I get called names too. So whatever. But, tell me why you don't like it if you don't like it. And if you do like it, tell me what you like about it. Or are you kind of like on the fence from liking it and disliking it? I can see that happening in runs too. But I've been really enjoying it. I don't see the hate. I don't understand the hate. So if you hate this book or this run, please help me understand why you don't like it. But I'm also trying to help people understand why I like it also. So if you don't like it, let me know. And if you do like it, also let me know. All right. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.